Thank you all for joining us today. My name is Stephanie Garami, and I am the Marketing Communications Manager here at Onboard. I work on all aspects of marketing here at the company and have been working very closely on this webinar series. Just a quick housekeeping item, we'll be taking questions at the end of the webinar, so feel free to type them in the question box on the right-hand side, and we'll get to them at the end of the webinar. So with that out of the way, I'm happy to introduce this webinar's presenter, Mark Seiden, who is the CEO and co-founder of Onboard. Mark brings over 20 years of technology, information services, and finance experiences to Onboard, which he co-founded over 9 years ago. So without further ado, I'll hand it over to Mark.
Thanks, Stephanie, and good afternoon. Welcome all of you, and thank you so much for joining us. A special welcome to our Onboard clients and partners and others who are showing some interest, and perhaps not an Onboard client yet, but maybe we'll change that in the near future. Speaking of which, I wish, and I know you want a webinar where I'm going to sell you all types of products and services, and unfortunately, I'm not going to be doing that today. I really want to get into a strategic ideology, if you will, that we do a lot for our clients in helping their business, and it's really, if we're doing anything, just to have a conversation that is meaningful and helps your business. So, and I don't, the topic I'm going to speak about is important, but I don't want to take too much of your time, so you can hold your applause and your questions for the end. I think you're on mute anyway, so I can't hear you. But just a little background on myself. I've actually been in this space for about 13 years, and over those 13 years, sure, a lot has happened in our industry. One thing I haven't done a lot of is a lot of public speaking, and there's a reason for that. It's not because I'm shy. I've spoken on panels, I've done webinars, I've done a couple of blog posts, but I'm a very opinionated, passionate person, and if you don't know me, I could really be insulting, and I'd rather limit some of my discussions, in a more intimate setting like I do for my clients. And if you do know me, I'm kind of a tough love, in your face, challenge you type of person, but there is an agenda, and that agenda is to help you and to be provocative and not just make you think, because I'm not a consultant. I'm a doer, and I want my clients to be doers, and that's why they're in business. But I wanted to talk about this webinar because I did some research, and this is so much less about my opinion than it is about a reality that's going on in our business. And speaking of background, in 13 years ago, remember when the internet was, just making its way out, if you will. The question was, should I have a website? That's kind of funny to say, now. But there was a time where only a fraction of companies had websites, and the question, was, what do I need one for? But back then there wasn't data to tell you that a website would be the #1 place you would do business, a hub, if you will, to market your brand, to do transactions, to launch your blogs, your social media, or what have you. There wasn't data to tell a story about the millions of people that are coming to your website or how they're interacting and so forth. And suffice to say, if you had that data back then, you probably wouldn't have waited as long as you did to launch a website or to understand what it was going to mean for your future. The title of our discussion today is a multi-platform approach to your business. And the reason I bring up 13 years ago and the lack of data is today we have access to sometimes more data than we need, but we're in a world where data and analytics really can drive what we're doing in our business, in our world. I just want to get to a slide here that will show us. Okay, so 13 years ago we didn't tell a story. Today I'm going to tell you a story. I'm going to use data and leave my opinions to myself. Look at this first data point. You've never seen that before, right? Just kidding. We've been beaten over the head with this, that 90% of home buyers use the internet to search for homes. And that means just about everybody does. 5 years ago, you would picture that home buyer probably at home on their desktop, right, or their laptop. And, you know, today that's changed. The question is, although the data is telling you it's changed, what have you done about it? And I'll get to what that means. But here are a couple other interesting factoids if you didn't already know them. 327 million wireless subscriber connections. That's more than our population. And if you take out the infants and babies and the ones that shouldn't have phones and the people who are too old to use them or see, that's probably 1 point something wireless connections per person in the United States. And of those people, 43% of them use a smartphone. A smartphone like an iPhone, a Droid, something that, you know, is, I should say not a flip phone, but, you know, more advanced to do almost anything you could do at home or on a laptop, you can now do on your smartphone. And then tens of millions of iPads and Droid tablets and Samsungs and what have you. And then the first day Apple released its 4S, there was 1 million in a day. So it's telling a story about what the consumer is doing today, how the consumer is behaving. And, you know, back to me being very opinionated, I consider myself a very typical consumer. And I'm very snobby. And I'm the type of person that yells and screams at internet sites when their experience is counterintuitive to me. That makes me work harder, that is inconvenient. I fill out a form, I miss one piece of information, it says to hit the back button, and that whole form is gone. I mean, it drives me crazy that they couldn't save the rest of the information. It's things like that that really bother me. Another thing that bothers me is that I'll go on a website and I'll start a transaction, I'll log in and I'll do something, and then I get a call from my wife that I have to run somewhere, and I'm like, okay, great, on the train I could do some work. And on my iPad, I pull up that website. It doesn't even know who I am. It doesn't know anything about my previous transaction because now I'm on their web application, not their website. And they forgot to have them talk to each other. And it's this type of inconvenience and counterintuitive experience that really led me to want to do some research and talk to you today because, you know, like the data that we didn't have before, we're at such an advantage today to have the data to tell us, look, this is how consumers want to act. And we have to realize if we don't already, and I'm sure most of us do, and actually I struggled with whether I should even talk about this topic today because I'm like, this is so academic, everybody should know this. But then I went to a national brand website that spends millions of dollars on advertising and brand awareness and their UI, and has a website and has mobile apps, but there was no continuity or consistency between those platforms, and I was quite blown away that was taking place in today's day and age, especially based on the data. So I said, you know what, Mark, maybe everybody doesn't know about it, and if they do, maybe they're not doing enough about it because on the flip side, I talk to a lot of you. Onboard's in a very special place to service some of the best, smartest, biggest, innovative real estate companies. And a common theme I've been hearing for the last couple of years is not just that the market's down, but that brands, old brands, brands that have been around for years are getting their butts kicked in the marketplace by people they've never heard of or companies that have infiltrated their space. And they've used technology to do that. And I say to them, so what are you going to do about it? And they're like, well, the market's getting a little busier. Maybe I'll, you know, redesign my website. And to be honest with you, that's where I kind of fall off my chair. Websites are a very small piece of the consumer experience today. And I'm here to educate you that if you didn't know that, well, please know it now. The data is the data. It's not my opinion. And that we have to start using platform experience, cross-platform experience. What the hell does that mean? I don't know, but I just know that it means I have 4 things that I walk around with and I use. And I use my laptop, my desktop, my iPhone, my iPad, and that's probably going to continue. So if you're sitting there saying, wait a second, Mark, I have a website, I have an iPhone app, I'm building an iPad, the thing is you're building components, and components can really quickly start to inconvenience your business and catch up with you. And I'll get into a little bit more detail, but they're not the way to think, in my opinion, about building your business for the future, especially when the consumer is telling us they're acting in a different way. So what is a multi-platform approach? Well, to me, from a consumer standpoint, it's a singular experience across various platforms. And come on, folks, this is academic. I want to go to Priceline.com. I want to log in. I want to start my search for my airfare to California to NAR, and I want to start researching. Oh, I have to go. Let me log out. I want to pick up my iPad on the train, log back in, and I want to pick up exactly where I left off. I don't want to re-enter my search or have to tell them that who I am or what have you. And again, that sounds so academic when I say it, but I was blown away by the fact that that experience does not exist, or it is not prevalent in a lot of sites that I looked at today. And for our industry specifically, consumers should be able to research properties and then search their mobile phones, tablets, keep them going. Momentum is your friend when doing transactions. If you do 2 steps forward and then 1 step for them to go to your competition, that's why you're getting your ass kicked in the marketplace, because they're going elsewhere. It used to be, if I didn't have enough information on my site, they would go somewhere else. Well, the consumer experience, now that they're logging in or accessing your brand from multiple points, that becomes as paramount as it is to provide them with the data and services that they're looking for. And I really hope I'm pushing some buttons, because this is important. It's important to me as a consumer. It's important to your consumers, all right, who want to interact in your brand, who want the convenience, and you're giving them a lot of reasons to come back to you, and you're building loyalty. The benefits, they're pretty obvious, right? I mean, it enhances the customer experience. In fact, I shouldn't even think about my experience. I should just think about accessing your brand over and over and over. Don't market to me, download our Android app, then I have to log in, and it really doesn't speak to the main website where I have to do my search all over again. I'm very unimpressed by that. I'm impressed by you realizing that the guts of your platform, the underneath, is a singular API, cloud-based. Listen, I'm not a technology expert, but it is a singular platform that speaks to these other components, whether it's my desktop, laptop, iPad, whatever it is. It comes from one place. The data is returned to one place. So in essence, I don't even realize what's going on. I just log on from anywhere to any one of your applications, and I get the similar experience. Of course, that keeps people involved in your brand. Oh, Mark, my iPad app is branded. It's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the service element of your brand. The high level of service that so many consumers have been telling us that they desperately want in our business. So again, the convenience of just being able to pick up where I left off. Standardization from a technology standpoint, instead of building component after component, you're building a platform. But guess what? I am not suggesting that you go out and build this huge platform and spend all the money that you don't have. Platforms are scalable, and they allow you to start somewhere and go to another place without having to turn around and go back and recontemplate, what you did. Components are like Lego pieces, right? And that you have to, build on top of each other, and at some point it might topple over. And again, I am no technology expert, but from building my own technology here and having regretted some of the lack of foresight that we've had, I understand more than ever how important a scalable platform is to a business. That contracts and expands, by the way, and you need that kind of flexibility. Obviously, I talked about scalable across multiple platforms. It simply means launch a website, launch an iPad app. All right. And BlackBerry already came out with the BlackBerry book. Well, you're going to have to do something for them. Let that app be based on the same platform. Here's one that I think is very important, is the intelligence. I talked about data and insight. Well, analytics, predictive intelligence, insight into our business, Google Analytics, that type of stuff I hear from so many of you that's so important. But I'm perplexed when I go to a website and then I go to a mobile app and they don't know me as one distinctive user, what intelligence are you actually collecting? I mean, maybe you're collecting use on that app and use on your website, but not aggregated. What is it actually telling you? I'm sure you get some value from it, but imagine having intelligence across the platform, across my all of my interaction in your brand. You might get more insight, than you know of. Let's just show a couple of examples of some companies who do it right. And again, I'm leaving my opinions to myself, but we've all heard of this company many times. And Trulia saw a lot of holes in our industry, and I say our because I was part of this movement, back when. And when Trulia came into our space, I started asking questions of why them, why not you? Meaning, why should they come take all the internet traffic? Why should they come build a cool user interface? Why do they have to do this? Why can't you? And the answer is we were afraid of change. We didn't know what to do. We didn't understand it. We didn't think we had the money. But the bottom line is Trulia is common in our business today. Most of us work with Trulia in some way or another. Most of us want to emulate what they do. And look what they've done here. Very simply, they have My Trulia. My Trulia is a common denominator no matter where you go in the Trulia experience. And quite frankly, it just means that I can get to My Trulia no matter where I am. It's that simple. But what happens is I can keep up the momentum and continue to do what I want to do, and that's look, study, research real estate, because one of these days I'm going to buy. And you don't know when, but you might as well set it up so that when I'm ready to buy, I've engaged in your consistent experience. When I'm ready to buy, I contact you. Another one would be Realtor.com, and I guess when I show Amazon next, I will have shown you three very large companies, and those of you who are an agent or don't have a lot of money saying, how the heck can I afford this? And we'll certainly get to that. There's different levels of everything, but a strategy is free, right? Setting up a strategy for your business shouldn't cost you money, and that's the button I'm trying to push here. The realities of your business and your bank account and your bandwidth, well, those will always come into play. But if you're about to do a site redesign, I strongly suggest that you stop for a second and ask yourself if a platform redesign or a platform design is better suited to your business and how, multiple ways you're going to reach your consumer. Nevertheless, the experience on Realtor.com and their mobile apps is very consistent through a consistent login, through an underlying platform technology that powers that experience across the board. I brought up Amazon mainly because they have always, I think since the beginning, been that kind of intuitive company. Like if you like, I think Amazon actually started the predictive, marketing in the sense that people who like this book also like these products, and they always wanted to get into the mind of the consumer. And you know what? It's not annoying. It's nice. If you don't want it, you don't have to do it. It's not invasive. But they're trying to be sensitive to what the consumer is thinking about. And I challenge our industry to really get on this horse very quickly, because they sell a lot of books and they sell a lot of other stuff. And they've proven that they can do a lot of business online and interact and get repeat users. And I think these are models that we need to emulate if we're not doing it today. And I just wanted to show one example that doesn't. If anybody's on the phone from Realty USA, I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry, in a sense that, you have a website, you spent money on it, and here I can log in using my name and my email address, and I can save a bunch of searches, and that's great when I get back home or back to my desktop or laptop to log into your URL and do that. But then on the iPhone app, you ask for my phone number, and you identify me as two different people from two different sources, and my save cart there is empty because they don't talk to each other. I mean, it's just a shame. Again, I had to show this because there are a lot of companies that are doing this or not doing it today. All right, so how do I get there? Well, let's put aside the money part. I think that if you didn't understand what I was saying today, then I really want you to absorb the platform strategy. And again, it's fairly academic, but if you're not doing it, I think you need to just do a self-assessment and say, well, where am I on this roadmap? I have a website, I have, a couple of apps. I have some pretty, talented developers or designers. Can I retrofit this? Can I go back and using cloud technology or all the technology that's possible is create a platform? And the answer is probably yes, not being a technology expert, but, get there. And then if you're not there and you're not set up for it, when's your next redesign? Is that on your roadmap? Well, start to think about how APIs, which are underlying technology and data deliverers, if you will, and can be that hub I was talking about. Understand that, or cloud, or some other platform technology or enabler that can help help your business. And now we get to the point of it sounds expensive. What are my options? Well, again, it's very hard to speak to that, but I could tell you that many times, several of you who are on the phone and other clients invite us in to the beginning stages of a build, a platform build, a website build, not only to integrate some of Onboard's content, but for us to understand your overall strategy. And this is where we explore options. What are your capabilities from your budgets to your bandwidth to your just understanding of where you're going on your technology roadmap, and very quickly you can uncover, the pros and cons and, where you're strong and where you're not. And certainly, we would make ourselves available to anybody to have that initial discussion. We don't call it, we're not consultants, but we have a very strong consulting point of our business that we don't charge for the most part. We really like to lend some of our expertise. So I'd love to answer what are my options, but I don't know who I'm speaking to. Certainly something we can do down the road. Some of the keys to success, and I've covered a lot, but really just find the right balance. Offer a great user experience on a technology platform that's going to let you scale, and let people know that, hey, you know what, the red carpet's laid out for you. Use our brand anywhere. Use our search anywhere. Pick up where you left off. Give them, again, reasons to interact in your brand in a very positive way. Don't get to the point where I'm screaming at you and your website because it's counterintuitive to what I need as a consumer, what I'm telling you I want as a consumer. If you're going to do a technology build, look for providers that are proficient in these areas, right? Somebody might be killer at building a website or because of their website design, but the underlying technology, the underlying thought process is as important today in terms of where you're going and how you can scale or how you'll get stuck because you didn't foresee that. And the best providers will have these pieces or have the knowledge to piece this together for you so that you can build a longer-lasting strategy. And you won't be redesigning in a sense that I have to go back and build. You can go back and change your UI. You can update your data, which goes cross-platform, and it's one update. Things like that that'll make your business more efficient. And again, the best providers will really be there to help you. So thankfully, I'm almost done. In summary, as I said, data tells a story, and hopefully I've left my opinions to myself. It's right there in black and white. People are using mobile in ways that they never have. They want seamless experience between platforms, and they will stay involved in your brand. I have to tell you, as that typical consumer, when you do it right, I'm yours. I'm staying loyal. I don't need to go somewhere else if you're doing it right. If you're letting me, to perform the experience that I want, and you give me the products and services that I'm looking for. And the last point I really want to underscore is don't cut service because you cut screen size. The tablets today are mini laptops. They're flat laptops. You don't need to cut out all the content because it's a smaller screen. Certainly on an iPhone, you want to be intuitive and have the right amount of content. But I've seen a lot of apps just dummy down so you have an app. And again, that lends itself to consistent experience as well. So you have to think about, not just the fact that I can log on and pick up where I left off, but if I'm looking to research things or other products and services, make sure that there's some consistency there, or that you route me back, through this experience to your website, which can, keep the continuity. So that's really all I have to say today. I thank you for listening. Hope I didn't bore anybody, and just wondering, If anybody has any questions they'd like to type, and before you type anything, certainly, I'm happy to field any phone calls from folks. I'll put up my phone number and email, or you can email me. We can set up a call. But if there's any quick questions right now you'd like me to answer, I certainly do my best. Thanks again for listening. I appreciate it. While we're waiting for any questions to type, pull up a slide. We have some great upcoming webinars too to mark your calendars. Go ahead, Stephanie.
Next week we have A+ content on your website, and as you can see, the following weeks it continues with It Takes Two to Tango, how lifestyle search and listing search dance together, and November 10th will be our last webinar in our fall webinar series, Top 5 Data Points That Make a Difference. So if no one has any other questions, that's Mark's info on the top. So you could email him if you have any questions, and you guys could talk offline. Okay. All right, so thank you all for joining us again, and we hope you have a wonderful day.